Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudite Nashtaprayeshu Avadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhakti Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 3, talks between Lord Shiva and Sati, text number 22 onwards. Prati udgam prashrayana avivadanam vidiyate sadhu mitha sumadhyamai pragya parasmai purushaya chetasa guhashayaya nadehamanine. My dear young wives, certainly friends and relatives offer mutual greetings by standing up, welcoming one another and offering obeisances. But those who are elevated to the transcendental platform, being intelligent, offer such respects to the supersoul who is sitting within the body, not to the person who identifies with the body. So Lord Shiva is speaking to his wife, and in the previous verse, he says, one who is conducted by false ego, thus always distressed, both mentally and sensually, cannot tolerate the opulence of self-realized persons. Being unable to rise to the standard of self-realization, he envies such persons as much as demons envy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So basically, he's telling that Daksha is not at the same level as me, and that's where the problem is. So he's saying the people who are on the stage of self-realization, when they offer respects, they do not offer to the person, they offer to the super soul within that person. Because they see they see at the soul level, the soul and the super soul in the body of that person. So this is their vision, but those who are in body platform level, they cannot understand or appreciate this kind of dealings. It may be argued that since Daksha was the father-in-law of Lord Shiva, it was certainly the duty of Lord Shiva to offer him respect. In answer to that argument, it is explained here that when a learned person stands up or offers obeisances in welcome, he offers respect to the super soul who is sitting within everyone's heart. It is seen, therefore, among Vaishnavas that even when a disciple offers obeisances to the spiritual master, the spiritual master immediately returns the obeisances because they are mutually offered not to the body, but to the super soul. So in this connection, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, like if his disciple offers him obeisances, Danda Pranam, like falling straight on the ground, Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj would offer respects the same way to him. He would also bow down on the ground. And once when Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj was old and he had some knee problems, so he could not even walk properly, and it was difficult for him to pay obeisances. So his disciples, understanding the mood of their father, spiritual master, they would pay respect to him from far away. They hide behind a tree or a column, and then they would pay him respect and go away, so that Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj would not pay them the respects. So, but when two devotees, of course, here Prabhupada is talking about people who are self-realized. When we are offering obeisances, we don't even see the super soul. So we offer to the body. And that is why when the obeisances or respects are not given to my body, the person who's on bodily level, he would get angry. He would get offended. The Lord says in Srimad Bhagavatam that offering respect to his devotee is more valuable than offering respect to him. Devotees do not identify with the body. So offering respect to a Vaishnava means offering respect to Vishnu. So devotees do not identify with the body. And that is actually the first step of self-realization. And we haven't even, at least I can speak for myself, I haven't even come close to that. It is stated also that as a matter of etiquette, as soon as one sees a Vaishnava, one must immediately offer him respect, indicating the supersoul sitting within. A Vaishnava sees the body as a temple of Vishnu. Since Lord Shiva had already offered respect to the supersoul in Krishna consciousness, offering respect to Daksha, who identified with this body, was already performed. There was no need to offer respect to his body, for that is not directed by any Vedic injunction. So this pervert or Lord Shiva's conduct is basically on the soul level, spiritual level, not on the body level. But those who are on the body level, like Daksha, definitely they'll get offended. And that's what happened. And especially Daksha, because he was too proud of his assets, of his beauty, of his position, of the opulence that he had. He was too proud of it. So actually it is our expectations. See, Daksha was expecting that Lord Shiva, being his son-in-law, and even if he wasn't son-in-law, he should offer him respect because Daksha is in a better position. The expectations. I think if Suryadev or Chandradev, they didn't offer him respect, he would feel the same way. He would feel offended. But Lord Shiva, because he was son-in-law at the same time and not dressed properly according to the calculations of Daksha, not behaving properly according to the calculations of Daksha or according to the expectations of Daksha. So that is why he got very, very angry. So it's basically our expectations. When they are not fulfilled or not met properly the way we want, we get angry. So these expectations could be anything in our family life, in our social life, in our professional life, in our temple life. Expectations could be anything. But how do we know what the other person is thinking? How the other person is thinking? So we have to have very broad mind or broad-mindedness to understand how the other person is thinking. Just like, it's just a regular example. I mean, I like to wear white and somebody is wearing red color cloth. Should it offend me? Should it bother me at all? Or should I get very angry? Why is he wearing red color? Because I like white, I'm wearing white, so everybody else should wear white because this is the best color, according to me. But the other person, he has his own set of values, set of sanskar, set of his own consciousness. So for him, red color is the best color. He thinks red is best. Everybody should wear red. And if you don't wear red, you are a crazy person. And that is where the conflict is. Instead of understanding that, okay, I like white, the other person likes red, the third person might like blue, fourth person might like black, but that's their choice. And everybody is correct in their choice. There's nothing wrong. As long as it doesn't encroach upon some basic etiquettes. But this is where our problems start, is our expectations from others based on my consciousness. But the other person's consciousness, his sanskaras are completely different than mine. In the food choices, I might like paneer, the other person might like eggplant, the third person might like cauliflower. So everybody is different. So same thing applies to our relationships everywhere, at home, in the society, in the friendship, friend circle, at office, or in the temple. Since we are all trying to be devotees, so temple is a necessary aspect of our life. Or anywhere else, we should try to appreciate the differences and respect the differences. Everybody is different. And at the same time, everybody is dear to Krishna. Whatever qualities they have, they are dear to Krishna. Whatever way they are serving, they are dear to Krishna. If we work, if we think this way, if we deal with others in this way, then there are very less chances of committing offenses. If not, then well, we have few more lifetimes to stay in this material world. In the spiritual world, everybody is different. And there are many more living entities in the spiritual world than here in the material world. And everybody is different, and everybody is happily serving Krishna. Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. He is unlimited, and so are his devotees, so are the services, so are the moods, so are the relationships. Ananta, unlimited. And everybody is happy. That is spiritual world. Happily serving together, happily serving each other, happily serving Krishna. That is a spiritual world. Not that every day Radharani is going to getting complaints from, oh, Lalita said this, Vishaka said this, and Ranadevi said that, and Sudevi said this, did that, and she is not getting complaints every day and trying to work through the complaints. No. That is the beauty of spiritual world. And we belong to that world. It's not like something artificial is there. Just when we are in this material world, we think we get this body, and that's where the whole problem starts. I am this body, and I have this qualities, these opulences in this lifetime, which I think is the only lifetime. And I'm proud of this, and whoever doesn't have it, he should be serving me. That's nonsense thought. We should be serving each and everybody, and whatever property, whatever qualities, whatever assets we have, it's only the mercy of Krishna, that's all. And everybody else has wonderful qualities. So our expectations will be lowered from others. And when we don't have expectation, and at the same time we are ready to give them respects, then we can chant the holy name constantly. We can perform our services nicely and constantly. In that sense, we get qualified to go back to the spiritual world. And this is what next verse is. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam Yadiyate tatra pumana pavritaha sattve cha tasmin bhagwan vasudevo yadokshajot me namasa vidhiyate. I'm always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. The living entity is constitutionally pure. Asango hi ayam purusha. In the Vedic literature, it is said that the soul is always pure and uncontaminated by material attachment. The identification of the body with the soul is due to misunderstanding. As soon as one is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that one is in his pure, original, constitutional position. This state of existence is called Shuddha Sattva, which means that it is transcendental to the material qualities. Since this Shuddha Sattva existence is under the direct action of the internal potency, in this state, the activities of material consciousness stop. For example, when iron is put into a fire, it becomes warm, and when red hot, although it is iron, it acts like fire. Similarly, when copper is surcharged with electricity, its action as copper stops. It acts as electricity. Bhagavad Gita also confirms that anyone who engages in unadulterated devotional service to the Lord is at once elevated to the position of pure Brahman. Mam chayo avyabhichare bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samtityetan brahma bhuyaya kripate. Therefore, Shuddha Sattva as described in this verse is the transcendental position which is technically called Vasudeva. Vasudeva is also the name of the person from whom Krishna appears. Vasudeva is the name of Krishna's father, husband of Devaki. This verse explains that the pure state is called Vasudeva because in that state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed without any covering. To execute unadulterated devotional service, therefore, one must follow the rules and regulations of devotional service without desire to gain material profit by fruitive activities or mental speculation. So Lord Shiva is further stating that I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Sattam Visuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. So he is at that level of pure Krishna consciousness at Vasudeva or Shuddha Sattva platform, which is beyond the material modes of nature platform. So that is where the conflict was, because there were two different frequencies. Daksha was on a different frequency than Lord Shiva, and they didn't match. In pure devotional service, one simply serves the Supreme Personality of Godhead as a matter of duty, without reason and without being impeded by material conditions. That is called Shuddha Sattva or Vasudeva, because in that stage, the Supreme Person, Krishna, is revealed in the heart of the devotee. Srila Jiva Goswami has very nicely described this Vasudeva Shuddha Sattva in his Bhagavad Sandarbha. So he had written Shad Sandarbha, or 6 Sandarbhas, so Bhagavad Sandarbha is one. He explains that Ashtotar Shat 108 is added to the name of the spiritual master to indicate one who is situated in Shuddha Sattva or in the transcendental state of Vasudeva. So when we add 108 or 1008, sometimes people like to add 1008, but actually it should be Ashtotar Shat 108. Ashta Uttar Shat. Shat means 100. Asht means 8. Uttar means after. After 108. So 108 is added to indicate one who is situated in Shuddha Sattva or in the transcendental state of Vasudeva. So that is the indicator of spiritual progress of the person. The word Vasudeva is also used for other purposes. For example, Vasudeva also means one who is everywhere or all-pervading. The sun is also called Vasudeva Shabditam. The word Vasudev may be utilized for different purposes, but whatever purpose we adopt, Vasudev means the all-pervading or localized Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita 7.19, it is also stated, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Factual realization is to understand Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and surrender unto Him. Vasudeva is the ground wherein Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is revealed. When one is free from the contamination of material nature and is situated in pure Krishna consciousness, or in the Vasudeva state, Vasudeva, the Supreme Person, is revealed. This state is also called Kaivalya, which means pure consciousness. When one is situated in pure transcendental knowledge, one is situated in Kaivalya. Therefore, Vasudeva also means Kaivalya, with a word which is generally used by impersonalists. Impersonal Kaivalya is not the last stage of realization, but in Krishna consciousness. Kaivalya, when one understands the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then one is successful. In that pure state, by hearing, chanting, remembering, etc., because of the development of knowledge of the science of Krishna, one can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. All these activities are under the guidance of the internal energy of the Supreme Lord. So anyway, Prabhupada is trying to explain what is that Vasudeva platform or Shuddha Sattva platform. So that platform is where pure consciousness, one is not in material contaminated consciousness, is in pure consciousness. And in that stage only Krishna is revealed to us. Because Krishna, Vasudeva, is born from Vasudeva. So Krishna is also born or revealed at the level of Vasudeva consciousness, pure consciousness. The action of internal potency is also described here in this verse as apavrita, free from any covering. Because the Supreme Personality of Godhead, His name, His form, His qualities, paraphernalia, etc., being transcendental, are beyond material nature, it is not possible to understand any one of them with the materialistic senses. When the senses are purified by the discharge of pure devotional service, the pure senses can see Krishna without covering. Now one may inquire that since factually the devotee has the same material existential body, how is it possible that the same materialistic eyes become purified by devotional service? So the question is, if a devotee has material eyes, we all have material eyes, how is it possible that material eyes become spiritualized by devotional service? The example as stated by Lord Chaitanya is that devotional service cleanses the mirror of the mind. Cheto Darpan Marjanam. In a clean mirror, one can see one's face very distinctly. Similarly, simply by cleansing the mirror of the mind, one can have a clear conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, by executing one's prescribed duties in devotional service, or simply by hearing about God and chanting about Him. If one's mind is always engaged in chanting and hearing, and is not allowed to go elsewhere, one can realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because then his mind is cleansed, mind has become purified, spiritualized, and the senses also become spiritualized. As confirmed by Lord Chaitanya by the Bhakti Yoga process, beginning from hearing and chanting, one can cleanse the heart and the mind, and thus one can clearly see the face of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So by Bhakti Yoga process, so one can say, the arguments can be there that, okay, the Lord and His name is all transcendental, but our tongue is material, so how with the material tongue we can vibrate that pure transcendental name? So that happens by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Without that mercy, we cannot even start chanting. because the name is completely pure, completely spiritual, completely transcendental. Our consciousness could be material when we are chanting, but the mercy is such that we can start chanting and we can start getting purified. That's why in the previous canto we read that was Yat Jivva Agre Vartate Nam Tubhyam Te Buddhapaste. In Yat Jivva Agre, if somebody is just chanting, his just name is at the tip of the tongue, it's not even gone down in the heart, it's just at the tip of the tongue. Means he has done all the yagyas, has read all the scriptures, done all the punya karmas in the previous lives. So only by mercy of a devotee one can start chanting. Lord Shiva said that since his heart was always filled with the conception of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because of Supreme Lord's presence within his mind and heart, he was always offering obeisances unto the Supreme Godhead. In other words, Lord Shiva is always in trance, samadhi. This samadhi is not under the control of the devotee. It is under the control of Vasudeva, for the entire internal energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead acts under his order. Of course, the material energy also acts by his order, but his direct will is specifically executed through the spiritual energy. Thus, by his spiritual energy, he reveals himself. It is stated in Bhagavad Gita, Sambhavami Atma Mayaya. By his sweet will, he reveals himself by his internal potency, being satisfied by the transcendental loving service of the devotee. The devotee never commands, my dear Lord, please come here so that I can see you. It is not the position of the devotee to command the Supreme Personality of Godhead to come before him or to dance before him. There are many so-called devotees who command the Lord to come before them dancing. The Lord, however, is not subject to anyone's command, but if he is satisfied by one's pure devotional activities, he reveals himself. Therefore, a meaningful word in this verse is adhokshaja, for it indicates that the activities of our material senses will fail to realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead simply by attempt of one's speculative mind. But if one desires, he can subdue all the material activities of his senses. And the Lord, by manifesting his spiritual energy, can reveal himself to the pure devotee. And when the Supreme Personality of Godhead reveals himself to the devotee has no other duty than to offer him respectful obeisances. The Absolute Truth reveals himself to the devotee in his form. He is not formless. Vasudeva is not formless. So one should not accept the Mayavadi interpretation that Vasudeva is impersonal. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Prapadyate, one surrenders. One surrenders to a person, not to impersonal non-duality. So Prabhupada is coming back to the same point that by being pleased with the service of a devotee, the Lord reveals himself to that person. And when the devotee is constantly thinking of the Lord, offering obeisances he's always offering obeisances unto the Lord within his heart when he's thinking of the Lord. So from that aspect, Lord Shiva did not have to get up and pay obeisances to Daksha. But Daksha, being on the material level, bodily consciousness, he could not understand or appreciate Lord Shiva's position. And that's when he committed a mistake, a big mistake. And now Lord Shiva is trying to convince Sati not to go there because Daksha might commit the same mistake again with Sati, because Sati is in relationship with Lord Shiva now. So anyway, so the story will continue. There are only 2 verses left, so we can complete the chapter. Text 24. Tatte niriksho na pitapi dekrit daksho mam dvit tad anuvritash chaye Yo Vishwasrig Yagya Gatam Varoruma Anagasam Durvacha Sakarotira. Therefore, you should not go see your father, although he is the giver of your body, because he and his followers are envious of me. Because of his envy, O most worshipful one, he has insulted me with cruel words, although I am innocent. So for a woman, both the husband and father are equally worshipable. The husband is the protector of a woman during her youthful life, whereas a father is her protector during her childhood. Thus both are worshipable, but especially the father, because he is the giver of the body. Lord Shiva reminded Sati, your father is undoubtedly worshipable, even more than I am, but take care. For although he is the giver of your body, he may also be the taker of your body, because when you see your father, because of your association with me, he may insult you. An insult from a relative is worse than death, especially when one is well situated. So he is warning Sati. Yadi vrajishyasya hai madvacho bhadram bhavatya na tato bhavishyati sambhavi tasya sujanata parabhavo yada sa sadhyo maranaya kalpate. If in spite of this instruction you decide to go, neglecting my words, the future will not be good for you. You are most respectable, and when you are insulted by your relative, this insult will immediately be equal to death. So he is warning Sati because he could see the future, but he did not want to force Sati because independence is still there. So the result was very bad. The fourth chapter is entitled Sati Quits Her Body. So Sati could not take the insult by Daksha towards Lord Shiva. So we stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So,
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, my query is like when it is so clearly stated in scriptures, like Krishna is supreme and like he has a form. So why there is so much of conflict? Like who is the supreme and he has a form or not so form? Is this because of different translations of the scriptures, or like or there are different things stated in different places?
Well, different interpretations, and everybody can interpret according to his level of consciousness.
Okay.
See, even the Supreme Lord has three aspects, right? Brahmjyoti, Paramatma, and Bhagwan. Now, those who are at the level of Brahmjyoti, they will only approach Brahmjyoti. They will not approach beyond that. Those who are on the level of Paramatma, they approach Paramatma. They understand Brahmjyoti, but they approach Paramatma. But those who go to the level of Bhagwan, they understand all three aspects, but they worship Bhagwan.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. And like I was watching 2 3 days back Ramayana, and there was one thing Rameshwaram, and where the Lord Ram made a shivling and worshipped him, worshipped that and named it Rameshwaram. And so that was also sometimes confuses like whether Shiv is the supreme or Krishna is supreme. What is like the reason why the Lord Ram made that shivling and named it Rameshwaram? That
Well, Srila Prabhupada explained the word Rameshwaram, the name Rameshwaram. He said, people think Rameshwara means Ishvara of Ram, that is Shiva. But it means Shiva, but Rameshwara means Ram jinke Ishvara hai.
okay. Yeah.
Well, we have to see now what Lord Shiva says. Shiva
Right,
always
right.
says, Shiva says in Shiv Puran to Parvati, Aradhanam Sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam Param. Of all the different kinds of worship, worship of Lord Vishnu is the best.
Right.
Of course, next line he says, better than that is worship of devotee of Vishnu. But that is because of mercy of Lord Vishnu. Not that devotee is better than Vishnu. It's just Lord Vishnu loves his devotees so much.
Okay, Prabhu. Thanks a lot.
But they are different kind of people, so it's okay. And it will always be like that. Any other question or comment? Okay, so we can stop here. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.
Jai Shri